All right, we're here. We're here. We're back. We're all back. Hello, Zach.
I
Oh man. Okay. Let's. It's been a while.
Yes.
And then somebody thought we were doing a show this week.
Well, I don't know. Whatever.
For future reference,
Sure.
we should be good. So, well, okay. So I guess this is payback for the time where you thought you told me that you were not going to be here, and then I thought you were, but you weren't.
No, I was not. Well, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
So anyway, no. Would you like to tell everyone where you were a couple weeks ago?
In Colorado skiing,
Yeah.
why we were there? Huh?
It actually, I think I did that show by myself.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it actually went way. I did one show by myself, and it went way better than I thought it was gonna go. So, anyway, that was interesting. But yeah, uh, there's snow, a bunch of it. But anyway, was it
Is
fun?
there?
I've got the picture up right now.
Oh,
So
that I sent you?
yeah,
Yeah, it was like the worst weather day, to be honest. Well, actually, no, it wasn't. The following day was worse than that.
like what do you mean?
Next
Like,
2 days were pretty good.
what do you mean like cold or like cold and windy or like
It was
what?
very hazy.
Oh
It was
yeah.
also kind of late.
Mm, okay, I see. So yeah.
It wasn't
Anyway,
that late. But yeah, there was.
did you have fun?
Yes.
Yeah. So, holy mackerel! This place looks pretty big, actually.
It is very big.
So, let's see. So, how many of these hills here? I've just got like a Google map up. So, how many of these hills are actually like I guess black diamonds or like
Well,
advanced?
there's a lot of like very expert terrain that we typically avoid because we aren't really mountain skier experts, you know.
I thought you were
But
like really, or okay, maybe not really good, but like decently good.
I'm okay, I would say. I would call myself intermediate.
Oh, intermediate. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not, like super good. I don't
Well,
know why you
how
thought I was super good. I'm not super good, you know.
I don't know,
Whatever.
because we've talked about it before, and you were like, we talked about like me, you, and Joe all going like skiing, and then like well, Joe's gonna be stuck on the bunny hill.
Okay, well, just because I'm beyond that doesn't mean I'm an expert.
It's been a while since I've skied, so we'll probably stick to, at least to start off with, I'd probably be. So I remember something about how, like, you were like, oh, man, like, I'm not going skiing with you guys.
I don't think I ever said I wouldn't go. Like, I'm not that bad. Come on.
No, I'm not calling you bad. I'm saying you're more advanced and we're
Oh.
bad, and then, like, you'd be like, no, I want to go on the more advanced hills.
All right. Well, you see, there's a difference between what we have here and what they have there. Okay. There's a big difference in standards.
You know what? I can imagine. Like,
Yeah.
so how much bigger is this place than like the Alps?
Well, I've never been there, so I don't know.
You never
Oh
been there?
wait, you mean? Oh, you're talking about the Afton Alps.
Yeah.
What?
No, the real Alps, man.
It's like, yeah, I've never been there. Maybe someday I want to go there, but I'm not.
No, well, yeah. So
Well,
like the Alps
I think
and
the longest trail is a couple of miles.
so okay. So which
So
one
there you
is
go.
which one is more advanced? Like, or are they about the same? The Alps, like, because you've got the Alps and you got Mankato Heights. Are they like? Are they pretty? Are the hills pretty similar? Or is like one
I've been to
set?
both of those. They're pretty comparable.
Are they? I feel like there's like a third mountain in there, isn't there?
There's not really any comparison between Midwest and Colorado, though. It's
Mm,
completely different.
right.
Everything is really long in Colorado. All the trails are very long, much steeper.
I can imagine. There's more hills.
Well, yeah. That's the thing, yeah.
More
it's
more
almost
mountains.
It's almost like they're mountains rather than hills. Because that's what we have here is hills.
Hill.
Yeah.
For comparison's sake, hang on. Afton Alps, which is in Hastings, Minnesota. What's the other one that's kind of by like Egan, I think, or maybe it's in Egan. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. For some reason, I thought that is the one.
No, Afton Alps is up in like Hastings.
I don't know.
Kind of by the St. Croix. At least I think, yeah. Mankato Heights. Let's see here. Well, that's not what I want. Anyway, okay, well, whatever. So, yeah. Yeah, so that's what you were up to. Meanwhile, so the reason we didn't have a show, last week? Yeah, the reason we didn't have a show last week was because I was just wrecked on sleep. So,
Yeah, don't want to be wrecked on sleep.
Well, so what I did is I participated in, Zach's gonna hear this and he's gonna be like, nope, no way. So I participated in the middle school lock-in. So basically, it wasn't quite what I was expecting. So I was expecting to actually have a lot more interaction with the middle school students than I actually did. But so basically, what this was it was like a church lock-in, basically. But anyway, so I was asked by the pastor from the parishes in Mason City to be a chaperone, basically, and I was like, okay. So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but I was like, sure. So I show up, and there's a bunch of like high school students there, and I'm like, okay, like why are all these people here, right? So I'm thinking I'm gonna be like, mixed in with these guys here, right? Come to find out that how it actually works is that the middle school students or the high school students, excuse me, would team up, like two of them, and then they would take a group of like 5 or 6 middle school kids, and then they were basically in charge of them. And then us adult chaperones were basically just there in case, like, something blew up or something like that. So, yeah. So we're all standing, like, there's like 5 of us, and we're like all kind of standing around like the kitchen after all the kids like grow into their small groups, and we're like, okay, what do we do now? So it was very hands off for the most part. But anyway, so we tell the middle school kids that they have to go to bed, right? 12:30, lights out, you got to go to bed. We tell the high school students, if you want to stay up all night, right? So I'm thinking to myself,
like they would care what you said anyway.
Who?
The high school student.
Oh, well, I mean, we were in control, so they had to listen to us. Anyway, so so we tell the high school kids, if you want to stay up all night, you can. So most of them did. And so anyway, I'm like, I'm going to go to bed, right? I'm thinking this. I'm tired. So 1 o'clock rolls around. Then 2 o'clock rolls around. And then, so we end up taking a trip into town to go get all the high school kids a bunch of, like, energy drinks, like restock them, basically. So anyway, and then we come back, and then there was this room that all the teens were supposed to be hanging out in. And so, like, a couple of the teens who had organized it had some stuff in there, like a laptop and a couple other things, and, like, all the folders that told all the groups what they were going to be doing the next morning. And somebody had pulled the door shut to that room. And this is like a 100-year-old church, right? With like locks that are original to the building. We're talking like skeleton key here. Like that old. So anyway, just by a fluke, the door happens to like lock. So we get back and we can't get into this room. So that was interesting. So now we have like 5 high school kids who are like all trying to like figure out how to get into this room. Like, oh, we'll take the door lock off. Oh, we'll pick the lock. So anyway, thankfully, 100-year-old church has like 100-year-old vents that are like giant, huge things like that. So we end up taking off like this vent from the wall, and then we got to figure out how to get through the other vent. So one of the smaller, like skinnier kids, like gets like pushed around, and then he ends up getting into the room, and then yeah, so that was a thing. And then by this point, it's like 3:00 in the morning, something like that, right? So anyway, I was up for a while, and then I was like, well, crap, I'm gonna go take a nap, right? So I'm thinking 20 minutes, I'll be out, I'll be good. And so I go, kind of curl up on a couch for a while, and then at some point somebody comes in and turns the light off of the room that I'm in, which after that I was just, it was all over from there. I was out for like 2 hours. But yeah, so I got like 2 hours of sleep. So, and then the next morning I basically just like laid on the couch all morning until it was time to go home, and then I came home and then I fell asleep.
Honestly, that sounds awful.
It was actually a ton of fun, but I like this kind of stuff. You, on the other hand, do not.
Just getting stuck with all these people and trapped awake. And,
This is the difference between me and you. I like people, you don't.
Oh.
So, anyway, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but anyway, so let's move on. The topics for this week. Somebodybot.org, like, I think like the rights to it or whatever like that. I don't know. We'll talk about that. Some news about Facebook. We don't normally talk about Facebook, but this was kind of interesting, or at least I thought it was. Microsoft news. Google's collecting data on students. Yep. Oh, and AMD cards are apparently overheating.
That's never happened before.
So, yeah, let's roll the intro. So it's my understanding the AMD cards are overheating because, like, loose screws or something like that, I think is what I saw. We'll talk about it. So, yeah. But that apparently is a thing. Anyway. No, you're right. Like, AMD, well, what was the AMD processor that was, like, known for, like, getting super, super hot? I think there were, like a bunch of them, weren't there?
I mean, the FX series in general was not exactly known to be cool running, but
well,
at the top of that list is obviously the 9590, which is just a colossal disaster.
I think even Intel has had chips that have been like that before too. So, they're not immune, but
oh, no, absolutely not.
But I think definitely, like, for a long time, like, AMD was like, like,
it was Nvidia.
Yeah. So let's talk about Apple.
Oh, what did they do?
Funny, no, I'm just saying, funny Apple, how processors tend to clock them,
when Apple made Intel chips overheat. Right? So
yeah,
a thermal solution for them.
Right. So Zach, as somebody who knows a decent amount about hardware, what do processors do when they get hot, like really hot?
Well, they tend to kick in their anti-self-destructing mechanisms and turn off before they do get self-destructing.
Okay, maybe not quite that far. Let's take it one step before shutting down. I was thinking I was going to go with thermal throttling.
Well, yes, but not necessarily. On laptops, yes. But normally in a desktop, you're not going to see a whole lot of thermal throttling before it just...
Unless you have an Apple computer.
Yes. Well, sorry, an OEM computer. OEM computers, maybe. I don't know. It depends on the.
That could be.
I think is that dependent on the motherboard? I'm pretty sure that the motherboard is actually what does.
Oh, really? Not the chip itself?
I think so. Yes.
I don't know.
Don't quote me on it.
You should find that out. I'm curious now. So, actually, if you want to figure that out, I will move on to our next topic, or our first topic, I should say. CompanyBuying.org offers to sign a contract banning price hikes. Ethos Capital, the company controversially buying the .org top-level domain, is trying to appease critics with a set of new rules. The legally binding agreements would ban steep fee increases for nonprofit domain holders, and they would establish an independent stewardship council that would veto attempts to censorship or inappropriate data use. The rule would kick in if Ethos successfully acquires Public Interest Registry, PIR, a nonprofit organization that manages .org. Interesting. So, ICANN, ICANN, basically they're the organization that oversees the internet's top-level domains. They're currently scrutinizing the acquisition. President and CEO Goran Marby, I think that's how you pronounce this guy's name, previously expressed discomfort with the deal, and PIR announced today, or the other day, I guess I should say, I don't know when this was written, 21st, so Friday. So announced on Friday, I lost my spot. Is currently scrutinizing the acquisition, expressed discomfort with the deal. NPR announced on Friday that it's extending the review period until March 20th. Okay. ICANN hasn't yet taken a position on the latest proposal. They say, we are in the process of analyzing the information we have received and therefore have no comment beyond the fact that we welcome Ethos' effort to engage with the Internet Society community and .org customers and look forward to the outcome of those discussions, said Marby in a statement to The Verge. California's Attorney General requested information from ICANN last month regarding the sale, and so have a group of lawmakers, including presidential candidate Senator Elizabeth Warren. Okay. Let's see here. So basically, it looks like, well, let's see. Is there anything actually good in here? See, I didn't read through any of these topics this week because I just kind of threw the show together.
That's fine. Who cares?
Right. So, PIR said it would continue to work collaboratively to address any outstanding issues with ICANN. In addition to the details above, Ethos and PIR are committed to creating a community emblement fund, okay, to support .org initiatives, and PIR promised to publish an annual transparency report. The price restrictions, meanwhile, would forbid Ethos from raising domain registration and renewal fees by more than 10% per year on average for the next 8 years. I don't know how much a .org domain name costs, but I know you can get...
I got nothing good in me for this. Like, this is not gonna go anywhere it should go.
You know what? Let's transition this real quick here. So, let's see how much you remember about networking class. How do domain names work, Zach?
Well, what do you mean? What do you want to know about?
What is the purpose of a domain name?
To direct you to an IP address, basically.
Okay, and how does it do that?
DNS.
Which is?
I'm not taking your quiz.
Do you actually know what DNS stands for?
It stands for Domain Name Services, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, well, I'm still not taking your quiz.
It's okay, I'm done asking you questions. Oh, man. So, basically, because, like, you have to understand in the computer world that like Google.com is not actually really like where is it? It's an IP address, isn't it?
Yes, or more likely a lot of IP addresses.
Actually, you're probably right.
We can just call it 1 for the sake of the example.
So, actually, what I should do is this. So, minimize that. So, here's what we should do. So let's put this over here. Okay. So ping google.com. Zach, what's Google's IP address? You have no idea.
7. This is not. No, this is not right.
Wait, what do you mean it's not right?
I don't think this is right. Hold on. I have to remember the command to get the
172.217.8.
Oh, you see that? Okay, never mind. For some reason, I thought I was using the wrong command.
No, what did you use? Ping?
I just used ping, of course, but
Yeah. Yep. Ping. So, oops.
forget it. I'm thinking wrong.
I didn't mean to put that up there. You've been out of school for a while. So, yeah. So, the IP address to get to Google, 172.217.8.206. So that's basically the exact same thing as typing in google.com. The problem is when I asked Zach, what is the IP address for... here's a good one. What's the IP address for Dell.com, Zach?
Well, you're going to have to ping it.
Right, you have... The point I'm trying to make is you have absolutely no idea. And so this is where DNS comes in. It's easier to remember Dell.com than it is to remember whatever actually the heck what is it? Ping 143. I actually don't know if I can do that anymore. 143.166.147.101.
Well, Dell.com isn't responding to pings, but that's just their configuration.
Right. Yep. Google does. So now, so do you remember how many major DNS servers there are throughout the world?
I don't remember how many. I mean, there are surely quite a few.
There's certainly quite a few, but I mean main ones.
No, I don't remember.
So there are 13, and do you know what Google's are?
Well, 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can use either of those if you need a DNS server. So there's another one. You've heard of Cloudflare, haven't you?
Isn't it 1.1.1.1 now?
Yeah, so Cloudflare is 1.1.1.1, and supposedly, if you use that, it's supposed to, make your internet faster.
Well, that's a bit shaky.
You know what, though? So you can get better page loading times by having an on-premise DNS server.
Of course, because that's, your traffic doesn't have to go somewhere else and then come back.
Right, yep, exactly.
Or your DNS traffic, anyway.
Most people don't understand that, though,
you're not really going to notice a difference.
Yeah, most people don't.
Unless you have some serious problems with your DNS server that you're using right now, for whatever reason.
Right. Ooh, next question, Zach.
I'm not taking your quizzes.
What is the OSI model?
Oh, I told you I'm not doing your quizzes.
I actually
don't remember it anyway. I'd have to Google it. I'll just tell you that right now.
I was gonna ask, do you remember any of the layers of the OSI model?
Like physical and something.
Yeah.
Physical layer and
there's like a physical data link.
There's a network layer, isn't there?
Yep. Yeah. I couldn't tell you.
I don't care.
I couldn't tell you what layers are which, but basically
it's taking the quizzes.
Basically how information moves through. Actually, here's an interesting question: is what is the internet, Zach?
What did I just get done telling you?
No, so you'd be surprised. Well, actually, maybe you're not.
Giant network. There you go. It's a giant network.
Basically, yeah. It's kind of funny when you talk to like non-technical people and you're like, oh, the internet, like the cloud, and they like are like, oh yeah, like the cloud like above your head, like no 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 no. Or
But people don't actually think that it's a cloud.
okay, maybe not, but people I think non-technical people probably believe that the internet is actually like actually a thing. Like there's this thing that's like the internet. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like it exists physically somewhere, and that's not true. That's not how it works. Basically, if we were to look at the internet, it's basically a bunch of routers and switches all over the place that are directing traffic all over the place. Yeah. So with DNS and IP addresses and the OSI layer and all this other fun networking stuff. Actually, so you know what I did the other day? Because it's just responsible networking. You have no idea, do you?
Wait, sorry, what?
So yeah. So guess what I did the other day? So it's just responsible networking.
Oh, what'd you do?
So
Just a responsible person.
So I have a bunch of Chromecasts all over the place. I've got the Google Assistant, right? This was all living on my main network. What do you think I did? You have no idea, do you?
Oh, sorry, I said, did you put it on another network?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I segregated it. So I now have my IoT network, which is basically my Internet of Things network. I still got some things to move over to it. And so, but have you ever used a Chromecast before?
Yes.
So
Not much, though.
So you know that your device becomes the remote for it, right?
Yes.
So how did I solve the issue of putting the Chromecast on a separate network when traditionally both the Chromecast and device you're using need to be on the same network?
Problem.
So, turns out that Ubiquiti has already kind of like figured this out, and there were like some settings that I basically hit in the control panel, and I put the IoT network on its own separate VLAN. And so, yeah, I thought I was going to have to like use some firewall rules or something like that, but I didn't have to. Anyway, basically, so I put a device on it, like I put a laptop on the IoT network, and I was able to ping from my main network to that device, but I couldn't ping back, which is what I want. So in theory, everything on the IoT network can't actually see or get to the main network. But the other way around is fine. So, anyway. I just thought that was probably the like, it's probably overkill, but it, like, you know, from like the networking, like, tech geek side of things, it's like the responsible way to do it, technically. So, like, oh, you want to hack my Internet of Things stuff? Sure, go right ahead. It's all on its own separate network. I don't care. This is the part where like somebody figures out how to like actually jump from the one network to the other network. It's like, ah, crap. So anyway, yeah. So I did that the other day. Oh, okay, yeah. So Facebook. We don't normally talk about Facebook because, you know, like, who cares? But, so get this, Zach. Facebook will now pay you for your voice recordings.
Oh, of course they will.
That's not creepy at all.
Of course they will.
Oh, so apparently you get points. Let's see. Facebook will offer to pay some users for voice recordings that will be used to help improve its speech recognition technology, the company announced Thursday. Oh, gosh. The move comes after Facebook, as well as Amazon, Apple, Google, and Microsoft, were caught listening to and transcribing voice recordings to improve speech recognition systems without informing customers it was doing so. I remember talking about this a few months ago, don't you? Or like last year?
We talk about this stuff a lot.
Right, but like,
So,
we talked about this like towards the end of last year though, where like Amazon and Apple were like all doing this, and then they like made it like an option whether or not you wanted to have this done or not.
Yeah, probably much to their own dismay, they did this.
So, funny how when you do sneaky things without telling people, other smarter people figure it out. And then they tell...
And they don't like it, yeah.
And then they tell other people. And then there's a bunch of backlash about it. So, I don't know. I guess, like, I don't know, put my tinfoil hat on and say that, like, the government is just recording everything I do. So, you know, like...
See, I try just to not even care about that.
See, I don't either! And I think the difference is that we grew up in this era around it.
Well, it's not like you can do anything about it anyway.
Right. So, like, you know, it's the same thing. Like, yeah, I value my privacy, but, like, I know Google's tracking what I'm doing. I don't go out of my way.
Yeah.
I could use a VPN if I really wanted to. I don't go out of my way to do that stuff, though. But I just don't care. It's a thing. It's a part of technology. Like, okay, yeah, there's a thing here. Yeah, okay, move on. So anyway, yeah. So Facebook will let you make voice recordings as part of a new program called Pronunciations in its Viewpoints market research app. If you qualify to be a part of the program, Facebook says you'll be able to record the phrase, oh, okay, hey portal, followed by the first name of a friend from your friends list. You'll be able to do this with the names of up to 10 friends, and you have to record each statement twice. Facebook won't be paying much for your recordings, though. Well, of course not. If you
How much are they offering?
If you complete one set of recordings, you get... You know, so I don't know how this actually works, but apparently you get points. So you get 200 points in your Viewpoints app, and you can't cash out in the Viewpoints app until you earn at least 1,000 points.
So what? So what's the point?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. So yeah,
If you want to do just that, you can't even just do that. You have to do a bunch of other trash for them to get anything.
So 1,000 points to be able to cash out, and it really isn't much. Any guesses?
Maybe $1 per 100 points.
So 1,000 points. That's going to translate out to a whopping $5.
$5. Oh my.
Via PayPal.
So they're paying you $1 to do this.
Now, Facebook says users may be offered the opportunity to make up to 5 sets of recordings. So there's
$5.
So there is the potential to meet the $1,000 point goal and get paid. but likely you won't get paid. So like, you know, like what the so what's the point here?
This is awful.
Facebook says the voice recordings users provide will not be connected to their Facebook profiles. like I believe that. And that the company doesn't share Viewpoints activities on Facebook or other Facebook-owned services without permission. Yeah! Like, I really believe that. I mean, Facebook doesn't exactly have the best track record when it comes to, you know, not selling users' data.
They do not.
And privacy.
Facebook and privacy don't even belong in the same galaxy.
Oh, the Pronunciations program will be available to U.S. users over the age of 18 that have more than 75 Facebook friends. Facebook says it'll be rolling the program out slowly, so it won't be available to all users right away. If it's made available to you, you won't need to update the Viewpoints app to see it pop up, the company says. Yeah, I will not be participating.
Yeah, I don't know about that, to be honest.
Like, okay, so yeah, I know my Google Assistant listens to me and that they're probably like, you know, there's the potential that they're like, you know, saving my conversations to help improve the platform. Okay? Would I prefer the option to either opt in or opt out? Yes. That would be ideal. Are they going to do it regardless? Probably. But I'm not going to go out of my way to give you this.
The data.
Like, no, thank you.
Facebook is tired of having to go out of their way for your data. So they're just going to ask you to bring them your data for them.
You know,
They're going to pay you a whopping $1 for it.
so Facebook
Amazing.
Facebook comes out with the portal, right? Which is their like voice, or not voice, but like, and
Their stupid voice assistant.
no, I don't think it's even a voice assistant. It's like a instant messaging video portal thing.
Oh, it's that piece of trash. Yeah, okay. Yeah, like,
But okay, so
if everyone who is, meant to buy this probably has a smartphone anyway, why would you need it?
so
I guess
apparently,
the only reason is that the screen's bigger, but that's it.
well, that and the thing like supposedly kind of like follows you as you move around. So like,
What?
yeah. So it's supposed to be like when you're like, and like on the other side, it does like the same thing too, I guess. So it's like you're supposed to be having like an eye-to-eye, like person-to-person conversation kind of thing. Here's the issue with this though. I don't know how well the portal's doing, given that it is a Facebook product, and given Facebook's
Go ahead.
history with privacy. I don't think I would invite this thing into my home.
I have never heard of anyone using this. Like, I've never heard of this thing, like, referenced in normal conversation ever.
Well, it's still relatively new too. And if you remember last year, we had a story.
Last year it was a thing.
Well, yeah, but if you remember last year, we had a story about how apparently Facebook employees were leaving reviews on like Amazon about the portal.
Of course they were.
So, so this kind of maybe makes sense that they're having to go out of their way to gain data, because probably not that many people have the device. Like I said,
Well, that's the thing, is that a lot of this voice recognition technology is based on just massive amounts of data. And it will not work well without it.
right? Yeah. I don't know. It's neither here nor there for me, kind of thing. Like, if you gave me the option to either opt in or opt out, more than likely I'm probably gonna say, nah, I don't want to opt in. There are going to be people who say, yeah, sure, I'll opt in. If the company's just going to do it, like, okay, fine, I guess. But yeah, again, I'm not going out of my way to physically give you my data.
It doesn't really matter how much like regulation there is, because even if you say, okay, well, we need regulation to stop companies from getting people's data. Well, you know what companies are going to do is they're just going to trick people into signing on to giving them their data. Like this. Give you $1 for it. Okay, deal.
Right. Ridiculous.
God.
Anyway. Yeah. No. Facebook, you are not getting my data. No thank you.
Well, I don't use Facebook, so I don't really care what they do.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Anyway.
I just don't need it. What would I do with it? I don't need Facebook.
You don't need social media in general. That's just not you.
Facebook's like one of the ones I need the least.
If you were gonna have, like, if somebody put a head up, like, put a head up to you, put a gun up to your head and said, you have to join a social media platform, which one would you join?
Probably, like, I don't know, make a Twitter, I guess.
Twitter. Okay. Interesting.
Less invasive.
Yeah, this is probably true.
Like, you can just make a Twitter and be, whatever you want, and just post whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Moving on.
Like Facebook, they like want to know where you live and
Microsoft news.
everything.
What did Microsoft do this week? I actually don't remember what I picked for Microsoft news this week. Oh, yes! Microsoft is bringing its antivirus software to iOS and Android. I don't know how I feel about this.
Microsoft has an antivirus software? Are you talking about Windows Defend?
Yeah, I
What?
think Microsoft is planning to bring its Defender antivirus software to Android and iOS
Yeah, I
later
guess
this
it
year.
Android and
You know,
iOS.
so here's the thing. I don't know how I feel about this
That
because,
seems so dumb because, like, security software for your phone, like, what even is the point?
but your phone can get viruses.
Your phone can get a virus,
It
but
doesn't happen very
chances
often.
are, unless you're going around, like, side-loading apps onto your Android device, you're probably not going to end up with one.
I feel like it's more prevalent to get a virus on an Android device though than it is
Yes, because they're a
on your
lot less
Apple
strict
device.
about what you can put on your Android device.
Right.
Apple is very strict about what you can put on iPhone, so it's
Well,
yeah,
so
I mean,
Apple is very strict
it's a
about
long
it
shot.
just in the App Store in general.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you go around jailbreaking your device, then sure you can get a virus. I guess.
Oh, right,
I don't know
yeah.
How many? I don't know how many such viruses even exist. Like personally, if I was out to make a virus, to infect as many people as possible, I probably wouldn't be going around making iPhone viruses because nobody's going to install them. But I don't know. I'm sure they exist somewhere.
Apple users are just too dumb.
Well, I mean, you can throw shade at Apple users, but really, we all know that the reason is because the ecosystem is so tightly controlled by
This
Apple.
is true. This is true. I just had to bash on Apple users.
Because Apple users are stupid.
Well, so
We all like to make fun of them, of course.
you know what though? Okay, so we've talked about this multiple times on the show before, and I think Zach, you will agree with me that there are benefits to you cannot deny Apple makes good software.
Well, they also are way better about privacy. Although, you know what? Events have shown me that I think they're serious about privacy for the wrong reasons, but they don't actually care about your privacy. They just do it because it, makes them a buck.
That could be. Well, yeah, privacy, security. So, Apple is pretty well known for that, but I think they can take things too far sometimes. The number of devices I have seen come in, and I don't know about you when you were doing, tech support. Did you ever see devices come in that had been disabled?
Once or twice?
See, we see it a lot. And this is
I'm
one
pretty
of...
sure that same can happen to an Android device, though, can't it?
No, I think Android devices, they won't, disable the device. I think it just locks it out.
What happens if you do that? Can you, sign in with a Google account or some such thing?
I don't remember. I think you can. See,
I
so
guess
here's Apple's...
scenario, at least with an Android device, you can just, wipe it.
Well, you can on an... But see, here's the thing. So, yes...
Well, I guess it depends on the Android device. I don't know. There's too many factors.
You can do... So, here's what happens on an iPhone, right? Is it locks you out for, 60 seconds. And then it's, 5 minutes. And then it's half an hour. And then it's an hour.
It goes up and up and up, yep.
Until it hits a certain point where it just disables the entire device. And the only way to unlock the device is to hook it up into iTunes and basically, factory reset it.
Yep.
Which is stupid! There should be some kind of, Apple ID backdoor that allows you to unlock the device. The solution should not just be, well, you're screwed. The theory behind...
It could be argued that that's a security feature.
It is a security feature. But here's the thing about this, is that what is the likelihood that somebody is going to be able to break into, and it could happen, but is going to be able to get into your Apple ID account?
Well, here's an idea. What if this is an option that you can enable? Let's say option that says, I don't know, some option that enables this so-called backdoor, right?
Well, I don't even know if I would call it a backdoor, but
hold on. What if, in order to enable this, you have to turn on two-factor authentication on your Apple account?
Yeah, I think that should be a thing in general. But so
Well,
here's
yes,
here's
but
what I'm thinking.
Companies are hesitant to force people to use two-factor authentication, but what if they could offer this incentive, right? Like, hey, we'll let you dial back the security a little bit here in this department, as a precaution, right? In case something happens and your phone gets disabled, you can unlock it without wiping it. Well, okay, in order for us to ensure the safety of your account, though, we're going to have you put two-factor authentication on.
Okay, but what do you...
Seems like a fair trade to me.
Okay, but what do you authenticate it with?
Well, that is a thing. I don't know. You have email, and then most people use their phone, but it's our phone we're talking about here, so...
You might have slightly overlooked that one, didn't you?
Well, I don't know.
So here's what I think, okay? Is you can unlock it using your Apple ID, Apple ID, right? Here's the thing. Rather than it pre-populating already, you physically have to type in what your Apple ID is and your Apple ID password, and then somehow it should be able to tell, oh, hey, that Apple ID is logged into this phone, or is linked to this phone, because it more than likely will be. Because that means that you need two pieces of information then. Because what is the likelihood that somebody's going to be able to guess not only your password, right? But they also have to figure out what your Apple ID is.
Only someone who knew that information already.
Right. And at that point, I think you're screwed anyway. But so this is what the most annoying part for me is that I tell people, yeah, I can unlock your phone, but I'm going to wipe all your data in the process. Now, luckily, Apple is pretty decent about turning on backups as an automatic feature. But, what if your stuff's not backed up? Now, and here's the thing, and I see this far too often too, is people that come in with water-damaged devices or, devices that have, well, mostly water-damaged devices that we can't get back, And they're like,
right,
I've got all my contacts on there. I've got all these pictures on there. Are they backed up? No. And then they think about backing them up after it's too late.
Well, yeah, that's how it always goes. And there's nothing that can be done for that. Nothing at all.
You could argue, though, do we make the point of backups? Either A, do we do it like Apple, where it's just something that's kind of just automatically enabled? Or...
Well, there is still a problem, is where are you going to put the data?
This is true.
You can automatically enable backups all day, but where is the data going to go?
Well, so generally, Apple's free tier has enough space in it for your device.
Generally speaking, yes, but...
Okay, but things like contacts...
You could do it by default.
Things like contacts, though? How much is that? How big is a contact file?
I guess you're right that certain sets of data could automatically be backed up at...
how big are contacts?
No expense to...
Right, they're tiny. So here's my scenario, and maybe yours is similar. So, where are all of your contacts on your phone physically stored, Zach?
On my phone?
Really?
What do you mean? Where do you mean? Where are they physically stored? Of course they're stored on my phone.
Are they?
Well, yes.
So they're stored on your phone's internal memory?
Of course.
Mine aren't.
They're probably also stored on your phone's memory.
Well, yeah, they probably are, but that's not primarily where they go.
Yeah, it probably is primarily where they go, and then they're just backed up occasionally to Google.
Yeah, but you have to set that up. So all my contacts physically exist. When I create a contact, it physically creates it in Google and then gets synced to my device.
Okay.
But that's not the normal behavior. Normal behavior is you create a contact and it lives locally and physically on your device. Mine are stored up in Google and then they get synced with my device. Make sense?
Aren't you fancy?
Right. But again, so here's the thing. If I lose my phone, well, yeah, sure, that sucks, but all my contacts are safe. And all my photos physically back up to Google. as long as I'm connected to Wi-Fi. Now, I don't take that many pictures, but, like, that's the thing. In fact, I think my whole, I don't know if my whole phone actually backs up to Google or not. I don't remember. Anyway, but that's how I'm doing it. So that's my way of securing my data and things like that. But anyway, oh yeah, so back to this. So yeah, so Microsoft is planning to bring its Defender antivirus software to Android and iOS later this year. The software giant is developing apps for both mobile operating systems that are designed to provide antivirus prevention and a full command line experience. What? A full command line experience? How's that going to work on iOS devices?
I have no idea.
Microsoft isn't revealing exactly what the apps will do just yet, but the company plans to preview them at the RSA conference next week. Command line experience. Like, go away, Bigsby. Nobody cares about you.
This is why I don't have a Samsung phone anymore.
So anyway, what could you possibly, like, if you wanted the command line experience on your Android device, you probably already rooted it. What? Okay, I was on board with this idea until I saw that on here, and now this is just a classic.
That it has a command line interface for this program.
Oh, that could be.
Because this isn't going to give you a command line interface to your device.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, how the heck is that going to work on? How is that going to work on an Apple device? There's no way. There's no way Apple would ever allow that. The mobile app comes just under a year after Microsoft started a public preview for its Defender antivirus on macOS. Microsoft renamed Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection, ATP, to Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection, ATP, as a result, and the Mac client provides full virus and threat protection mixed with the ability to perform quick or full scans. See, okay, so here's the thing. I actually think that Windows Defender is actually a pretty decent program.
What do they have to gain by doing this, I wonder? Suspicious.
This is true. Microsoft's Mobile Defender client will likely be very different to the desktop versions, especially as Apple's iOS platform doesn't allow apps to scan for malware across an iPhone or iPad. There are a variety of Android antivirus apps available, though. Microsoft will join this growing market to prevent malware in Android apps that are sideloaded onto... Oh, that's interesting. That are sideloaded onto devices. Okay. One of the biggest goals for Defender on iOS and Android is phishing prevention to stop employees at companies from accidentally revealing their usernames, passwords, and other account information. How Microsoft achieves this on iOS isn't clear just yet, however, as both of these mobile apps come as part of Microsoft's enterprise security platform. Yeah.
So they're aiming for big businesses.
It's unlikely that they will be available for consumers to use.
There you go. That's what they have to gain, is they're going to take money for it. Shock.
Alongside the mobile news, Microsoft is also announcing Microsoft Defender ATP for Linux. A preview is available for businesses to test as part of Microsoft's broader effort to secure devices beyond Windows and macOS.
Windows Defender for Linux.
Coming to us.
Alrighty then.
Coming to a data center near you. Yep, coming to a data center near you soon. Okay. Like I said, I don't actually think Windows Defender is all that horrible of a program. But okay. Yeah. So, Google's facing a new lawsuit filed by the state of New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas on Thursday, alleging the company violates the privacy of students who use free Chromebooks provided to schools through the company's G Suite for Education platform. Yeah! So, okay, We talked about this earlier, how, yes, Google is stealing your data. It's just a thing.
Of course they are.
But I think at a certain point, you take it too far. Students should be off limits. Minors should be off limits. Actually, there are rules about this kind of stuff, like the COPA Act and things like that. Yeah, student safety should be the number one priority of any company providing services to our children, particularly in schools. Tracking student data without parental consent is not only illegal, it is dangerous, and my office will hold any company accountable who compromises the safety of New Mexican children.
Oh, thank goodness for people like him.
Here's the problem. We hear stories about this all the time. What do you do? How do you enforce it? Yeah, sure, okay, fine them, right? But the fines are minuscule.
Like, oh, Facebook had to pay $1 million because they took people's data for 10 years without their permission. Like, Facebook would pay $1 million for that data. Facebook would pay 10 times as much for that data. All they had to do was eat this tiny little fine, like, oh, whatever.
Oh, I guess it's not the first time that this guy's tried to take on Google. In 2018...
You know, really what needs to happen is fines need to happen, and they need to be actually, like, you know...
significant. Right, significant.
What? Did I just miss a little number here? What, $1 million fine? What? Why is this even in the books? We don't care about $1 million, you know?
Yeah, so it's not the first time this guy's tried to take on Google. In 2018, he filed a lawsuit against Google and other companies for violating children privacy laws, specifically the far-reaching COPA, which is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act provisions. The suit is separate from this new Chromebook-related one and is still ongoing according to court filings. The state attorney general is also participating in a broader antitrust probe into Google conducted by 50 state attorneys generals around the country in parallel with similar efforts by the U.S. Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission. The suit filed the other day specifically accuses Google of using its free Chromebook program as a kind of Trojan horse to illegally gather data on students, both in violation of COPA and more generally...
We're going to give you free Chromebooks. Oh, that's nice.
Generally in violation of broader privacy protections, both federal and state, for kids of all ages. You don't get anything for free. What is Google's intention here? Why would Google give free devices out and not expect anything? Like, what does Google gain from this? If not data. If it wasn't data, what are they gaining? That's the question. What do they have to gain if it's not data? What other incentive do they have for providing free Chromebooks to students? Tell me, Zach.
I don't know, man.
You don't ever get anything for free. So the data the suit accuses Google of collecting includes sensitive information like, oh, here we go. Any guesses, Zach?
Oh, data?
Yeah, but what kind of data?
I don't know.
Well, web and search histories.
Okay.
YouTube viewing habits.
Okay.
And now here we start getting into more of the alarming stuff, like physical locations, contact lists, passwords, and voice recordings. The suit also claims Google used this information to serve its advertising business up to April 2014, and that the company has stored this data in personalized profiles for each student that participates in its G Suite for Education program. Okay. It also accused. It also accuses of Google of not properly disclosing this data collection and not giving parents a way to view and limit the data collection. We're talking about kids here. Like, I'm fine, and I know that Google is going to collect this information on me. Kids are a different story, though. That's where I draw the line. Unacceptable. I don't know. What do you think?
I'll agree.
I was going to say, is it the society we live in? Or, like, generally with children, they should be off limits to this kind of stuff. So, these practices do not simply violate federal law, nor do they merely impact children under the age of 13, the complaint reads. Covertly monitoring children of all ages despite unambiguous representations to the contrary violates long-standing rights rooted in the common law, as well as New Mexico's statutory prohibitions on unfair, deceptive, and something business practices. I actually don't know what that word is. Help!
What? Is that a misspelling?
I don't know. Help! Google spokesperson.
Unconscionable? Yeah.
Oh, conscionable. What? I don't know.
Unconscionable.
Yeah, unconscionable business practice. Okay. These claims are factually wrong. G Suite for Education allows schools to control account access and requires that schools Google spokesperson Jose Castaneda. Okay, anyway, rebuked the suite's claims in a statement provided to The Verge. The claims are factually wrong. G Suite for Education allows schools to control account access and requires that schools obtain parental consent when necessary. We do not use personal information from users in primary and secondary schools to target ads. School districts can decide how best to use Google for Education in their classrooms, and we are committed to partnering with them. In other words, something general PR speak.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah, that's a thing. So, Zach, AMD graphics cards are allegedly overheating because the screws are too loose.
Of course they are.
The last thing on your mind when building or upgrading a PC is whether your graphics card screws are tight enough. So it turns out that even a few slightly loose screws could cause a GPU to overheat because if the core isn't tightly pressed against the silicon,
that actually makes sense.
Silicon,
if it's not pressed against
it could potentially cause the graphics card chip to heat up more than it should. Yeah, well, you're right. What is the point
of? But it's dumb.
What is the point of thermal grease though? Why do we use it?
Oh yeah, but it still has to be able to conduct heat to the chip. Sorry, it still has to be able to conduct heat to the thermal grease.
Right. Yes, but we use it generally to fill in the gap and to help pass the heat along. So
it's like a heat chain. It's only as good as its weakest link.
That's good. I like that. That's according to Asus. Asus? Is it Asus or Asus?
Don't care.
That's according to Asus. Yeah, Asus. No, Asus. Gosh dang it! I don't remember which one it is. I think it's Asus. Which was busy investigating its AMD RX 5700 series graphics cards, reportedly hot temperatures when it discovered that adding additional pressure to the heat sink could cool those GPUs down. ASUS says that while AMD tells manufacturers to mount the core using a force of 30 to 40 psi, it found it could add new screws to increase the mounting pressure to between 50 and 60 psi, allowing the card to maintain cooler temperatures. Okay. Let's do this real quick here. And here you go. There's that. Do that. Okay, here we go. Pressure versus temperature. AMD recommended. Asus Navi from January 2020. Overspec. Short screws, hardly squeezing by hand. Washer. What do you make of this, Zach?
What is the question?
I'm just what do you make of the graph here?
Well, why isn't there a y-axis on this graph?
I don't know.
There's no labels.
Uh,
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
In fact, judging by why, I have no idea. This graph is worthless. What I think.
Oh. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We're going back to that. Okay. The good news is you won't need to buy a newly designed graphics card to get the fix. Owners can contact an ASUS customer service center or customer support to get a free upgrade starting next month. Okay. Just know that it's not clear how long you'd need to part with your desktop graphics card. Ooh.
That's kind of a bit of a problem. Like, you're asking me to just send them my video card? What if I need it?
Right? Asus mentioned that GPU screw shipments to its local service centers may be affected by the lovely coronavirus.
Like, what they should be doing is they should be sending you out a fixed graphics card and accepting returns of your faulty card that is faulty because of...
And the company doesn't say how long it'll take or whether you'll need to pay for shipping yourself. Okay. Just don't try to tighten down your existing screws yourself. Asus is warning users not to try to repair their own cards. A common criticism of the RX 5700 line is that the cards may run hotter than the competition, something a few publications like Tom's Hardware noted in their reviews. The Verge noticed it as well. Perhaps tightening down the cooler is something other AMD board partners might try too. Yeah, what's that? Yeah, like in the case of my system, right? If I ship off my graphics card, I'm screwed.
It's not going to work. Yeah, and same. It's not going to work.
Because what do our Ryzen processors not have in them, Zach?
Onboard graphics.
Exactly. So, wait, does that mean that if I pull the graphics card and just hook up the monitor to like the VGA port on my system, it just won't work?
It might work if your motherboard has some kind of a GPU, which I don't think is very common nowadays. There used to be some that had that.
So, interesting. Let's see, what else? Hot Wheels announced a remote-controlled Tesla Cybertruck.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Did you see the picture of the Cybertruck?
Yes.
What do you think? Thoughts?
I don't know.
Like,
Can't afford one anyway.
Stupid, dumb, like...
It looks silly, of course, but they knew that.
Oh, man. Yeah. Here it is, right here. Mattel has announced a Hot Wheels branded remote control version of Tesla's Cybertruck. It's available to pre-order now and will come in two sizes. There's a 1:64 scale RC Cybertruck that costs $20 and the much bigger 1:10 scale version that runs for, any guesses?
No.
$400! Both are expected to ship in December 2020. They'll be limited editions, will only be available until they're sold out. The 1:10 scale version is described as a hobby-grade radio-controlled vehicle that is off-road and rugged terrain capable. It's got functioning headlights and taillights and two driving modes, chill and sport. Just like the real Cybertruck. It has a telescopic tailgate that slides out into a loading ramp for the bed. Mattel said that the body can be removed to reveal the interior and access internal battery and drivetrain system. Okay. Yeah. The 1:64 scale version is the size of a typical Hot Wheels car. It also has two driving speeds but fewer moving parts. Both versions were designed with help from Tesla. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's a thing. What else did I have in here for... Oh, yeah, this was interesting. Apple tries to halt publication of App Store book allegedly containing company secrets. Apple has sent a cease and desist letter attempting to prevent the publication of a book written by a former App Store manager because the company believes the book shares confidential company secrets.
Whatever. Typical, I guess.
Apple's statement suggests that this guy was fired because he intended to publish the book against his employer's wishes, or perhaps because he did so without going through proper channels at the company. Yeah, okay, interesting, cool. Anything else? Let's see. I'm gonna look at something real quick. Oh, yeah, speaking of fines, Apple was hit with a 25 million euro fine in France because of the iPhone slowdown thing. Not that it will make any difference.
Probably won't make a dent in the pocketbook, that's for sure.
So, let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll end the show for this week. Yeah, fines, okay, sure, right? But, how much do you realistically think a fine would need to be before a company would actually, be like, oh, crap?
I have no idea.
Or is a better idea some kind of percentage on the total yearly income or something like that?
I am not even going to try and decide.
So I just wasn't sure. I was curious if you had any idea.
I have no idea.
So, all right. Well, that's all I got. I don't have anything else. So, thanks for joining us. Good to be back. We'll be back next week. More fun, more talk, more news. Yeah. Anyway, like if you like, dislike if you didn't like, and all that fun stuff. Subscribe down below. We'll see you next week. Bye.